life. All right, cool. Benny, I'm the robots from Overwatch. Yeah, you should know. Very cute. All right. Um, It'll probably take a while before people start rolling in. We will see how that goes. Because this is a little bit last minute to do a stream. Unannounced, and I haven't been doing some streams lately, especially since the start of the year. It's been difficult finding a regular time for this, but we'll see if we can get back into doing this a little bit more regularly. Mostly just doing the stream today because I wanted to try something out. And for that reason, I'm also on a different camera today. I'm actually on the camera on my laptop, so you're getting a bit of an interesting little angle here. But we'll see how it goes, because I need my normal camera, this little guy here. Yeah, I'm going to need that one for my experiment. This is usually the camera that I use for streaming. A bit of an old camera, but it does things well. Who knows? I might get something more nicer at some point in time. We'll see. So yeah, the idea today is to get a simple scene up and running in VR, but have the output to screen be based on a different view. And for that, we are going to use one of these little things, a little tracker puck. So as you can see, I've got a little offsets inside of my tracker puck, which is just a little, if I can actually get it out because I really screwed it in well, which is just a little male-to-male standoff thing, and that will allow me to attach the tracker to my camera. And yeah, with that we'll have some fun. It'll be a little bit tricky getting it all matched up and working correctly, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, interesting. We'll see. So let's go and switch over to getting my desktop in, and what you see behind me is just a little trial game, or a little template game. It's actually an asset that you can download, so you can grab this from the asset library. Someone else made this. This is Mechatronic's work, and it's just a nice little scene. We'll see if this holds up for our purposes today. So my first order of business is to really quickly change this into a VR project, but with the difference that we are going to do the VR output into a separate into a separate sub viewport. So let's just see how far we get there. My normal screen is here, so sorry that you're going to get me from the side, but we shall see how that goes. Hey, Paul Holt. Well, hope you get a nice haircut. I hope you can also see what I'm doing and not just listening in, but yeah, we'll see where we get. So just to run this is a really nice little project. Has some sound and everything. I actually need to put my sound down, or you guys are going to get an echo. So there we go. I hope the sound comes across properly. But yeah, this is just a little single level thingy where you're starting in this abandoned railroad. You get a little camping site here. It's got a very Fallout vibe to it. I'm a big Fallout fan, so I love this little cloth animation here. You can jump around. So yeah, it's a really nice little thing. It's got some volumetric fog going on. I have no idea how much of that survives in when we switch over to XR, but we'll see. I do have to admit that I do have a computer that is a little bit more beefy. I don't know if you guys heard that, but it suddenly started to thunder outside. That's unexpected. So yeah, that sucks. Anyway. So back to exploring this little thing. So yeah, we got a little shack here as well. We got these little ramps that allow us to go up and down places. So yeah, pretty standard. Love the grass. It's even moving around, which is kind of cool. And then at the other end of the tunnel, we can't go any further because there is a train that lies on its side. So yeah, that is what this does standard, and we will see how much of that survives. Hi Alex, how are you going? Nice of you to join. So the first order of business is actually to start pulling this apart. Now, let me just double check if I can see which file this is. It's that one. So I'm actually going to go and duplicate that because I don't really like changing the original. I always want to be able to open up the original. So we're going to have that open. That means that in project settings, we obviously want to make sure that that is the file that we run, not the original one. Obviously, we're going to want to turn OpenXR on. We want to go and enable our shaders. Do I need to do anything else here that I want? No, I think I'll keep that pretty standard. And while we're in here, we're going to change our 3D render layer names because we're going to be using that. We're going to call this one, if I can type, shared. We're going to call this one desktop only. And we're going to go and call this one VR only. And that allows us to place objects that we only want to see in VR or we only want to see on screen into separate layers. So that's pretty cool. Alrighty. The other thing that I really want to do is I want this to start full screen. There we go. All right, obviously at this point in time, it's not going to be doing anything extra because we still have the normal stuff in there. So we're going to remove the normal FPS controller that's in here because we're no longer using that. Let's close a few of these things. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to take this animation layer out of here because if I understood correctly, that is only to create our initial splash screen thingy that had the instructions on there. And I'm going to go and empty out our normal stuff here. The first thing that I do want to put back in is a camera, and this time a normal camera because that camera is going to be used for what we see on the desktop. So this is going to be called our desktop camera, and we're going to change these masks. So we only want that to be in desktop only. So we're going to untick the VR only. Now, obviously, all the other layers aren't named, so it leaves that out, and that leaves those selected, but that's fine because I'm not using those layers. Makes that pop-up much more usable than it was before. All right, so here's our desktop camera. Now, one other thing that we do have an option in is playing around with the environment. We're currently using a world environment. So if we have some issues with the VR view showing too much, because we're using the full desktop renderer here today, we can tone down the world environment and turn off a number of effects in VR that we do want to have on the desktop, or the other way around. If you're not interested in having a nicer view on the desktop, then obviously you want to do that the other way around. For us, we are right now going to keep that the way that it is. Now, the other thing that's important is that we have our little pop-up thingy here, and that in theory should keep working on the desktop. And with this, we can quickly test that out. I haven't really played around with that a whole lot. So let's see if our view still works. Oh, our camera is going to be in a really bad position because I forgot to actually position that camera. But yeah, I can go and open that up. So I'm going to go quit out of there. And I'm going to have a quick look at the script because I had to click one time. How is this being brought up? I don't know, actually. I don't know what the... Okay, we got press. So if we just press pause, is self-visible, then we have mouse capture. We actually want to... We don't want the mouse capture stuff in here because we're going to be not bothered by the mouse. But it's fine that it pauses. I'm more than happy about that. So we're going to hide this and no longer paused. And if it wasn't paused, then okay. I think that was just because it was doing the mouse capture. Exactly. All right. So let's put our camera in a default position that actually makes sense. I should have done that before because it's nicely on the ground here. Now, obviously, this is going to be controlled by our track camera eventually. So we're just going to put it somewhere just for now so that we can make sure that this works. Okay. And if we hit play again, and this time we should have our camera in a more decent position. Very good. Okie doke. So, okay. Let's go and start setting up our XR stuff. Okie doke. So we're just going to start with creating a XR origin point. There we go. And we want to add an, oh, actually, no, I should not start with that because we want to use a separate viewport for this. So we're actually going to start with a sub viewport. There we go. So that is what we're going to be rendering to. I'm just going to turn on use SR already, assuming that XR starts up. No, actually, let's not do that. Let's actually switch that if we get a valid XR environment, because if we fail to start XR, we don't really want the viewport to be set into XR, because then we start getting interesting problems, lots of errors. So I want to leave all this pretty much default. I want to leave that default. Might play around with that later on. But I do want the audio listener to be on, because this guy is now going to be responsible for our sound positioning. It's going to be interesting to see whether it's going to give us problems there. I don't know. It's also going to be interesting to see whether the headset is going to screw around with the sound. So please let me know if there's anything that happens with my sound suddenly disappearing or something like that. But the other thing that I'm looking for, and I can't find it. Let's put that one to always. Although it should overrule that the moment that it becomes XR. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Where did the disabled 2D go? We have a disabled 3D. But there should also be a disabled 2D in here. That is weird. I don't know where that went. Well, we'll see if that gives us any problems. I don't think so in this case. But there have been reports that there's something changed in Godot 4 that wasn't so in Godot 3, where when you start drawing 2D stuff in the main viewport, it would also suddenly end up in the sub viewport, which shouldn't be the case. But whoa, that was close. Yeah, that was really close. It's truly and fully thundering outside. Hopefully that's not going to cause us any problems. Okie-do. Let's just soldier on. So now we can put our XR origin point in here. We shall put our XR camera in here. And let's also already put our controllers in here. So obviously I want 2 of those. I want a left hand. I want a right hand. Let's also make sure that those are set up. So that one goes to the right hand. That one goes to aim. This one goes to the left hand. This one goes to aim. And that should be good, I think. Oh yeah, and of course in our call mask here, we don't want to see anything that we mark as desktop only. Very cool. All right. Now I'm going to add one more controller in here. And that is going to be our camera controller. And that is going to be locked to our camera HTC Vive tracker. Cool. And that only has a default pose, so that should be good. So Before I do anything else with that, is I'm going to turn this guy on. All right, and we're going to go to our little Steam VR window over here. And we are going to go to, I always forget this, where this is set. Developer maybe? Yeah. Just settings maybe? Controllers, bindings. No. Where are you hidden? Where are you hidden? I thought it was just a normal option in here. Maybe it's because it hasn't found it yet. Hold on. I did charge this thing, so it should be on. Because I'm not seeing it yet reported in here, which is really interesting. Let's go and grab this guy as well. Make sure that that is actually visible to my things, my base stations, and that both base stations are on. Why are you not seeing my puck? Where's my other one? Let's also turn you on. That one's out of battery. Let's go and plug you in so that you charge. So maybe we can use you later on. Oh, haha. Yeah, it helps if I turn on the base stations. I have my base stations turned on. These things, these pucks come with little base station, like little USB dongle thingies. Here we go. Congrats on the new hardware. Please review the setup instructions. Yeah, that's fine. So now we can see that we have a base station. So still blue, or sorry, that we have a controller thingy. Did you just turn off again? No, he's here. Come on. Ah, now it's green too, and there we go. So what's this guy doing? Oh, that's because the other one is off. Cool. And it's now charging, so that's cool. So I just want to keep the one on because that makes it easier to see. All right, so now do we have a new option for this? Manage trackers, that was what I was looking for. So here we get our manage trackers, and we can see that I have 2 trackers. Now let's click the first one. What happens with that? That might actually be inside of the headset. But let me have a look and see. Can't see it yet. No, it doesn't do that inside there. So how is it going to identify it? That's interesting. You can see I haven't played around with these for a little while. Can we see it here? No, that doesn't say what it is. That's annoying. So I got the 2 trackers. So how is it supposed to identify the 2 trackers? So just turn the other one on as well. Just putting it over here so this can be seen. All right, and that's indeed giving me a warning that it's out of power and it's plugged in. So can I guess that this is the first one and that is the second one? If so, then let's go and make sure that this one is our camera. But yeah, I was hoping that it would flash something on the tracker when that happened. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, cool, sweet. All right, let's just continue with setting this up. Let's start with placing our origin point a little bit more over here. Let's put our camera, even though this is of course eventually tracked, I kind of like putting it into positions that I can see what's going on. I want to actually have this desktop camera just move behind. We haven't hooked this camera up, so this is not going to be tracked. It's just going to show us where we are. All right, so we have our camera there, cool. Now we have our left hand, and let's also move that up a bit. I always forget which one is supposed to be minus. That looks good. And again, these positions don't really matter. I just like to put them there so that we have something visible. Makes it just a little bit easier to identify what everything is. And this one can also go a bit up, and we just move it over there. That's going to eventually be in a completely different position, but that's fine. Obviously, we're going to be in sitting position. I'm sitting down right now, so that's going to be interesting. I might add some height to everything. We will see. But before we deal with all that, we need a script. I actually want to put this into a separate subscene, so let's do that first. Where are you? Oh, that's why I can't see, because this dumb thing is in the way. Can I just minimize that? I can minimize that, thank you. I'm just trying to find save scene as branch. There we go. Let's just create a folder VR, why not? And this is going to be our VR setup. There we go. Actually, viewport. Let's also rename that inside of here, just so that we have it a bit more clear what that is all about. All right, so inside here, no, actually we're gonna do something else because I already created this, that's annoying. Does it matter? We will see. Let's first go to our asset library and get OpenXR tools for us. No, that's not OpenXR, so it's just XR tools. There we go. There we go. Download. Shouldn't be a too long download, I hope. Hey, Rodzilla, how you going? Thank you for joining today. I'm doing well, and yourself? Let's go and hit install on this. And get me some more to drink. I'm thirsty. All right. So it says that everything has been imported correctly. However, just for security's sake, we are going to restart Godot, because Godot does have some issues with caching files from time to time when you just installed a plugin. All right, and with that, we're going to go to project settings, and we're going to go to plugin, and we're going to enable our XR tool plugin. We are also going to go to project tools, XR tools. That we could run for just for security. That should already set the project settings that we've already changed. But we added some things in there that might be important to set. And I want to set my physics layers. So what that last one has done is if I go back into here and I go into 3D physics, you'll see that a whole bunch of layers have gotten some default names. And those are all the different layers that XR Tools uses. Now, we're not going to be doing much with XR Tools today, but, you know, it's kind of nice to just have that in there. All right. So, with that, the thing that I wanted to check first is go into add-ons and go into XR and go into Start XR. Look at that. We got a class name there. That makes it much very easier. Why is that a tool script? I'm not even sure. Yeah, we can keep everything. I'm just having a look if there's anything special that I need to do here. Because I suddenly realized the thing that's not done here is an overrule for viewports. So, where is... I'm blind. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, exactly. So we need to go and find everywhere that we set get viewport. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, okay. So we are going to have to change that bit. All right, I have to remember to tell Malcolm about this, that we have to make a enhancement here. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to add viewports. We're rendering XR2 for XR viewports. No, that just can be a viewport because that works on both. And that's going to be null pointer. Okay, oh, that doesn't need to do that anymore, that's right. Okay. All right. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to make that, actually, that's true. Do we still do that with node path? That's a good one. That changed, if I remember correctly. Godot docs export node path. All right, like that. And I think that now needs to be. No, that's right. You can just use it normally. So we actually don't need to do it in this way. So we can just do our viewport here. Viewport, we're rendering XR2, leave empty if we're using the main viewport. There we go. Boom. So we don't need you. Export var XR viewports. Viewports. Okay. So let's add here a function. Func get XR viewports. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do if XR viewports return XR viewports, else return get viewports. There we go. All right. So now we are going to replace this with that. Okay, cool. And we should now. Oh, that's right, because we haven't done that yet, because that was the thing that I wanted to change. Or do I just put this on? Is there anything else that I want to do here? Probably I do. So let's just go and put that here. That instead of extending viewport, we are extending that one. Cool. All right. Now the only thing is that this doesn't know that it's a viewport node, but that's fine. And that's kind of funny because that means that right now this viewport is going to be seeing itself. So we can just do this. Boom. And with that saved, that should actually see itself as the viewport, which is really cool. Okie dokie. So, let's see if we see something in XR. No, let's first put some things in here so that we actually have something to see. So the thing that we want to do here is we're going to put our low poly. Do I just want to do our normal left hand? Yeah, why not? So when we look at that, there we go, we have a hand. That actually reminds me, I might just want to go and put this back to 0, kind of like that. And then I do need to go and reposition him here, I guess. Oh, because the viewport doesn't have a placing. That is the only downside of the viewport. You can't put the viewport somewhere in space. Well, for this experiment, that doesn't really matter. For other situations where we do more with this, we need to add a little bit more for that. But for now, I'm going to just leave that, let that be, and accept that I can't place the camera right now. But if I build this out, I'd probably put a different node. Maybe like a node 3D at the base, and then have some logic that the position gets transferred to the XR origin point. Or whatever type we have there. All right. So with that, we now have our left hand there. So let's do the same thing for our right hand. There we go. We have our hands there. I'm also going to add a sphere to our camera here. That's going to just look a little bit funny. Mesh instance 3D. There we go. I'm going to do a sphere. That's a very large sphere. So I don't know what the size of the average human head is, but let's do something like this. I don't really care too much about the exactness of this, but because obviously this doesn't look like a head. I really need a head model for this, but I just wanted to have something that we can see where the face is. However, here it is going to be important that in our visual instance layers, we're going to move that to desktop only. So this is going to be an object, even though it's behind the camera, so we wouldn't really see it from inside of the headset. I want to make sure that we can only see this guy from our spectator cam. And obviously it would be nicer if you have a full blown body there, but for now this is enough. All right, so the last thing that I want to do is for our little camera controller, wherever that is, we're going to go and put a little box on it. I'm trying to think, do we have a mesh for the puck? Okay, let's see if we can quickly find that. 3D model HTC Vive. I can't type today. Tracker. Okay, that's on the official Vive site. But do we have Tracker 3D model? There we go. I don't actually know whether I've got the new one or I've got the old one. Except, why does it not allow me to download that? Did it just download? No. No. Hello. Did it download or not? Download. No. Did not download. Okay, what about this one then? There we go. That's downloading. Why doesn't it download the other one? That's really amazingly weird. Okay. OBJ file I think will do fine for us. Then our little tutorial files in here. Let's just dump it in here. There we go. Boom. Let's go and put that there and get rid of the zip file. And let's go back here. All right. So we move that over there. Oh, that's in there. Okay. I'll move that in here. Okay. Did that work? Maybe not. No, that didn't work. Why did that not work? Did it not? Ah. Okay. I thought there were easier ways to do that, but okay. So the reason I wanted to put this in here, assuming that it's in the right orientation, we'll see that quickly enough. It's obviously needing to know where our camera is going to be. And we won't fully know until we actually attach it to our camera, so. All right, I'm just going to see if the puck actually moves in my view. And we'll see if we can actually see that on screen as well. I'm not completely sure if that will be working. But let's just see how far we are at the moment. I also want to turn on one of my controllers. Boom. Okay. Well, we can see the ball move. That's oh, and we just dropped the other puck to the ground. That's what you get when your cables get all tangled up. Okay, so one problem that I immediately see right now is I'm really low to the ground, so I'm guessing that this world is quite scaled up. However, I do want to see if my puck is striking. I can see it, but it's very black, but it looks perfect. Okay, I don't know if... No, if you look real closely, you can see it move, but it's really small. So, we need to figure out what the scale of our world is first. Good, because we are way too low to the ground. I also had the feeling that everything was zoomed a little bit, and I think I saw that here in our environment. Is that our environment? No, where was that then? Is it on our project settings, on our main viewport? Viewport. Where are we? Rendering. Okay. Well, we got the screen page AA and stuff and all on. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that. I need advanced settings, I think. Scaling. There we go. So we're on. No, but we've got a scale of 1, so we're not scaling. It just looked pixelated on screen, so I was wondering if we were applying that. But it might be that that is being run from here. Excuse me. I'm not going to worry too much about that. That's just, you know, what you get when you're using someone else's environment. It's always a bit of a question how they've set it up. We will deal with that at a later time. One thing that I can say was that it was running butter smooth in my view, in my headset. Now this is, you know, full disclosure, this is a 4070 Ti, so obviously it has more than enough grunt for what we're doing today. But yeah, still I am quite surprised how well it runs. Now one thing that we can see is I put this on 1.5 or 1.7 meters high. Is that exemplary? Because again, also I'm sitting down. But I was really close to the ground. I'm wondering if there's something that we can use for scale. Because I'm basically as big as this drum here. I don't know if that's supposed to be a garbage bin or something like that. But here we have a chair. So I'm about as high as a chair at the moment. That doesn't seem very likely. How high is a chair? About a meter? So I think everything is scaled by 2. Alright, so it makes sense to change the world scale. Do I have, actually that's a good one. Do I have a XR setting for that? I don't. You have to set that in code, really? Alright. I thought we could set that somewhere. Why do I make that on ready? Ready. Thank you, Bass. There you go. So what we're going to do here is XR server world scale. I always forget whether this makes it smaller or makes it bigger. We might need to change this to half, but we'll see. That actually already looks better. But I'm not seeing anything right now, so that's interesting. Oh, of course I'm not seeing anything. And that I'm wondering why is my headset so hot, but I'm putting it on the fan of my computer. That's not a good idea. So you can see that this is quite pixelated. So I am assuming that somewhere, and there doesn't seem to be an option here, but somehow, somewhere, Yeah, not marked. That is because nowadays what you need to do, I always forget what the, I might not be using the right syntax there. Am I? Underscore ready as. And why is my eye suddenly hurting? There's a lot of something in my eye. Sorry about that. Okay. So that should now work. So in Godot 4, and that's not the case in Godot 3. Yeah, I'm now seeing that does look a lot better. I can't move yet, so I think that's the next thing that I need to do, because I really want to move around. So let's do that first. All right. Let's see. I have my right-hand controller here. My left-hand controller is still off. So on my right hand, I want to get a direct movement function. There we go. I already have my player body here. Okay, so this is the other thing that I wanted to change. Head height, max. Was that not in there? Okay. Player, standard height. Yes. What am I saying here? Is that something that I need to? Because that works. Hold on. Sorry. User settings. Alright. There should be a nice little ready save. Okay. Okay, that goes for user settings. We should be having defaults for those. Shouldn't we? Oh. Well, I could just add that in. That's not a really big problem. Should I just put it in here? I don't know. Why not? User settings UI. That is the UI itself. Is it? That's a 2D UI. I thought I made a. I didn't. Okay. All right, that is something that I want to come back to later on, because I've added a system into XR Tools where you can add an offset. My volume seems very low. Okay, hold on. Let me see if we can do something about that. Maybe I'm just mumbling. That's possible. I might just not be speaking up. But yeah, let me know if it's a bit better like this. How am I over here? Because I do think it's on the full setting here. Yeah, I've got that working properly. All right, I might have just been mumbling a bit, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try and speak up. Let me know if this is better. So yeah, as I was saying, the problem is that I'm sitting down right now, and XR Tools is meant to be used standing up. But I did add something that you could add an offset into. Basically say, this is my normal player height. So adjust the player body size accordingly, so that even though I'm sitting, I would still be playing as if I'm standing up. So I thought that I had that setting exposed somewhere, but obviously it's an internal thing, and that I need to improve that. But I'm not going to waste time on that because I want to focus on the, the main thing that we're trying to accomplish today. Okay, so I should now be able to move around. Let's see if that works. Again, you guys won't be able to see that because you're getting the spectator view right now. Okay, the other thing right now is, oh yeah, that's because my other controller is not on, but as you can see, I am moving my hands. I'm actually looking that way. But okay, as you can see, I can now move around. Oh, I forgot to turn. Okay, I need to put turning on. But yeah, I can move through the world right now. I'm moving a little bit on the fast side. But yeah, I can move around. I just need to look at where I want to move to. Hello, hand. All right, that's pretty cool already. All right. This is the other thing I always forget. We now have a separate movement provider for turning. So I need to add in a movement turn here. And I need to make sure strafe is off. Perfect. So I'm just moving that for forward and backwards movement. And now left and right I am using for turning. I'm leaving that on default, which is snap. But no, actually, let's just move that to smooth. Because I'm not, I'm doing this for myself. So, okay. That should allow us to move through the world. Okay. Now, so we know that our puck is oriented sideways, right? It's like that. And we're going to go and attach my beautiful little camera to it. So I'm just going to take its stand off. Now I hope that I have that one. Okay, I'm going to. It should hold out for a little while. I don't actually need to turn my camera on just yet because we're first going to work on the tracking bit. All right, so. All right, now something that you guys can't see, but that obviously I can. I wish this was lighter. Oh, there's no decoration on the bottom. There's only decoration on the front. Let me just have a look whether or not. So yeah, my lights is there. Okay, I can see a little light. I don't know if you guys can see that if I hold this close. But there's a little light on the bottom, and that's on the exact opposite side of that of this thing. So the light is on that side. So I know that I can align my camera that way. Again. So I'm just going to put this there. So basically the way that it's now held is I'm like this. So I'm actually looking that away. No, I am looking that away. Okay. So I don't actually know. Oh, that's the other problem that we right now have. Is it? No, that's not a problem, I think. All right. So I'm going to go on here, and I'm just for helper's sake, I'm going to add a mesh instance. I'm going to turn that into a box, which is going to be way too big, and I'm going to have to remember where I left my ruler. I saw a ruler the other day, because I don't know. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can find some dimensions on this thing. So this is... What type of Panasonic is this? Do you have something that identifies you? HTC 180. It's a very old camera. So, okay. Panasonic. What did I say? HTC 180. So that's my little camera. Now the thing that I want to know is how big it is. All right. That's interesting. We have a height and we have a depth, but we don't have a width. But that's enough for me to go on. Because I don't actually really care about the width. I care about the overall position. So 0.1, 0.005, 0.005. Let's see. So the height is 0.0. Actually, make that round that off to 6. All right. Well, that doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to make that 4 because it's slightly thinner. And that is 0.1. So that is basically the size of my camera. Oops. 20. I want that to be 90. And I want to put that like that. And then that one, oh, it's turned actually. No, it didn't. Okay. So it slightly sticks out. And I'm going to gamble here. I'm not going to go for absolute precision, but it gives me a bit of an idea of where it is. Okay. And now we're going to, and this camera is temporary. There we go. I'm just going to move that over here. And that's actually really lucky that our camera sort of sticks out like that. Now the only problem is that obviously we need to rotate that guy by 90 degrees. There we go. Transform 90. Because I'm assuming... no, actually... let's keep that because we rotated this guy. We will soon see whether our image is going to be upside down. Yeah, it does look rather dark, doesn't it? I wonder why that is. Because it's not darker on screen for me. I'm guessing that that has to do with my capture card. Let me think. How is that working? Why would it do that? So that's my normal one, this one. And that's the NVIDIA itself. Okay, how can I do that? Let's have a look at if indeed if I switch off. Come on, yeah. Oh. If I switch you off, does it go back to being bright? Right, takes a while before I can see it. Yeah, okay, so that is weird. What can I do about that? Is there something in OBS that I can make it brighter? I don't know. Do I have filters? It's probably gonna get a bit ugly if I do it this way, but color correction. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just going to go and make this start again. Yeah, this looks darker too, which is really interesting. Okay, so I should be darker again now. But now the question is, can I... Oh. Nope. I keep selecting the wrong thing. Sorry, I'm just working on my other computer to see if I can. All right, I've artificially brightened it a little bit, so I hope that works. Let me know if that's better. But that is a weird thing. That must be something that it's getting confused by, because it's just, you know, obviously the the index is connected to another display port. So I'm guessing that it's trying to set the brightness for the headset, but it ends up somehow setting the brightness for the display, for the capture card, which is really weird. But okay, I've just upped the gamma a little bit on OBS, and hopefully that will help with the contrast. But it's probably not going to look as good as it should. But yeah, it'll hopefully help a bit. Okay. So, all right. Cool. So the thing that we're now going to do, this was just a placeholder, is we're going to actually add a remote transform to this. Okay, boom. Because we're going to go and change our camera using our remote transform. That's the way that we end up moving the camera in the other environment. Okay. So we just need to assign a remote path there, but we need to go and make an export variable for that. var, and that's going to be display camera, and that's going to be a normal camera 3D. And what we're simply going to do here is we're going to go for a remote transform. I really should have a shorthand for that. Remote path is going to become display camera. Do I need to do a get path for that? I think so. All right. So that should make sure that this remote camera, and that's probably saying that I don't have a remote path. I don't, yeah. That this remote transform is going to be updating whatever that points to. So in our sub window VR window, we're simply going to go over here and we're going to assign that. We have way too many things in here. To our desktop camera. There we go. All right. So that should, in theory, mean that our camera is now going to be controlled by our puck. So let's see how well that works. All right, it's lying on the ground right now. That's fine because we are not yet in any sort of tracking range. Let's see how quickly. Oh, and that is of course moving. It's not. Are you off? You bastard. Why did you turn yourself off? Oh, because we switched everything out. That's right. All right. So this is starting to track now. Okay, let me see if I can actually see it in here. Okay, no I can't. So it's not tracking. Now it's possible that it's flipped the things around again. Okay, I just want to see if my hand is working. But this is not tracking. This is unwieldy to do by yourself. Normally, of course, someone else would be using the camera. Okay. Stop falling down. Okay. So my guess is because we turned Steam VR off, our trackers, or we might never have had our trackers. No, we had our trackers the right way around because it was working before. Manage trackers. Oh, it's actually moved it the wrong way around. See that? Okay, camera. Unless it has indeed moved them around, that's possible. Okay, so what about now? Are you now starting to move? Okay, what's going on here? Because that was working before. I'm actually gonna tighten this. It's not tighten enough. Unfortunately, now the position has changed, so I need to reorientate everything. That's going to be fun. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Great. All right. Currently tracking. Movie tracker to wake it up. Okay, well, this one. Okay. That one's tracking too. It's a little bit more charged now. It's made a little bit more happy. Let's just move that over there. That should also mean that if... So it's saying that both are tracking right now. So let's just try that again. And see if that makes sense. It's definitely having some sort of trouble with that. Okay. Alright, it's definitely on the wrong one because I can see the one that I just put on my computer. Alright, so let's switch that around. Devices, manage trackers. Alright, so this was now the camera then. And I'm going to disable that one. Close. Boom. Alright, did that do something? That's now gone and that is now here. Alright, so. Well, that looks way too small. So my, that was something that I was worried about because, sorry. My my cable keeps knocking my camera over. Oh, you can already see that we are now indeed moving with the tracker. But it's not very smooth moving. But it's all in the wrong spot right now. Okay, great. So one of the things that I'm having a problem with, I'm actually going to turn scale off here. I want global position and global rotation to be moved. So it was starting to work. That's kind of cool. Because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be scaling this little dude up. Am I? Yeah, so that needs to be scaled up by 2. With that, our little box gets scaled up by 2. Perfect. And that should now be more the size of what it was. Now the other thing is, I actually tightened it a little bit, so our position is different now. Yeah. So let's see. Hide you. Okay. So this one, oops. Nope. You need to be turned. So this one's more like this now. Okay. And more like that. And that one is now looking like there. Okay. So for some reason, ooh, okay. That makes sense. Let's go and reposition this one because obviously that no longer makes sense position wise. And then move that up. Okay, cool. And we could, if we really want to, we could move this back to a scale of 0.5 just in case. All right. Okay. Let's see if that makes more sense. All right. So obviously when it's not yet tracking yet, it's not yet getting anything. That's what, it isn't tracking when I do not have my headset on. That's my problem probably. Why is this still, there we go. Okay. So I can actually see the camera correctly, but I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Sorry for the shaky movement, but yeah, that actually looks really spot on. I can see where I am. So I should now be able to, and I should have done my left hand for movement. That's probably okay, let's change that up. Let's change that up. Again, this is of course supposed to be that that someone else would be having the camera and holding the camera. I should probably have had a camera stand or something like that. However, all the basics are working right now. But what I want to change, I need to grab my other controller. Oh, there we go. And I can just move that over there. I can move that over there. And we're just going to move these onto my left hand. So we're going to use the left hand to move around. So that with my right hand, I can hold the camera. So let's go have a look at that. Okay, so it's my left hand. Here's my camera. All right. Now, one thing that I should really do is actually I should make sure that I have a little preview on here. Okay. But yeah, you guys should be able to see this. I can't see what you guys are seeing, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, I should be able to move that around. Okay, cool. Sweet. Okay. Now for the really cool thing. Quit. This is going to be a little bit more tricky to get right, but we'll see how well we've got everything lined up so far. I think one of the problems that I'm having here is that I'm not in an ideal location in my room with the position of my lighthouses, because I have one lighthouse real close, but when I'm holding the camera, I think that I'm obstructing the tracker. So the tracking for the puck is coming from my lighthouse that's on the other side of the room. This really would work a lot better if this is actually mounted on top of the camera. And that's the goal that I do have at some point in time. We have some ideas about using this in a different environment with a much more professional camera, in which case it would be top mounted. And then again, getting it to be in the right position is going to be a bit of a problem, but we'll see about that. Okay, before I do anything else, I am actually going to. Am I? I'm wondering. No, I'm not going to worry too much about that. We are going to trick it in some other way, which is fine. All right. Cool. So, one thing that I could do, because this is really annoying me, is I can actually move that like this, and then move out a bit, and maybe even put this the other way around, just so that I can see it better what it's doing as a start. Because again, the starting tracking position doesn't matter, because that's going to be overruled by the real tracking system. So I can place it in a bit more convenient position for editing and moving things around. So that's kind of cool. All right. So yeah, obviously this is now geared to my little camera, and we're sort of ballparking it. So the next thing is to actually get my camera turned on, and we're going to start seeing if we can overlay these views. So for that, we're going to use OBS. So I'm running OBS here, and then obviously let's actually go and start our game in the background. There we go. I'm not really going to worry about what it does, because now we're going to go to OBS, and the first thing that we want to do is we want to go and add a game capture in here and hope that that works. Okay. That one it will be. So there we're going to now get our background. Perfect. Okay. So that's how we now go and I suddenly remember the one thing that I always forget here. Perfect. Sweet. Okay. So it hasn't captured my camera yet. Whenever you do not wear your headset, there we go, pretty cool. Whenever you're not wearing your headset, Is that because we are... Where are we? We're inside of something. Looks like. Oh yeah. I think we were inside of the barrier somehow. But yes. Okay. Still feel that I'm too low for some reason. Anyway. Cool. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So when you're not wearing your headset, then the tracking gets paused, which is really annoying in this case. I really should put a little sticker on the proximity sensor there. Anyway, the next thing that we're going to do here is we are going to add a video capture device here. And yeah, we're using that one. That's my camera view. So, boom. So you are now seeing, hello, me. There we go. And a close-up of my desk, but we're going to be working with that later. I'm also not going to care about sound here. Boom. So, okie doke. So the next step is going to be, let me have a look. Oh yeah, so the next step that we need to do is we need to go and do a green screen thing. Now I don't have a green screen right now, but I'm using this little tool called background removal tool. Now this is not ideal for this purpose. But it's a tool inside of OBS that you can install. So I'll leave that later on in the description. You can go to download it and add it to your OBS. And it uses artificial intelligence to remove the background, which is really cool. So let's go and do that. Now, obviously, right now it's not going to do much because there's no face in here. So let's make sure that I carefully. There we go. I'm just going to make sure that I'm on screen for a second. Okay, and now I need to go filters, and I need to add a background removal filter here. Oh, that's on the wrong thing. Why are you doing that? Hold on. How did I select that? That doesn't make any sense. I selected I selected the video capture. That was smart. Okay, let's do it on the proper one. Background removal. There we go. And we see that it's using our GPU for the background removal, which is really cool. They say that one works a little bit better, but yeah, we now have a camera view with backface removal. So I'm now nicely placed inside the game world, but of course, not in a proper position. Now I don't know how good this works. And whether it actually, this is where I really need someone else to help me and actually, move the camera. So I can't really see how well this works right now, which is really a big shame. But I should be able to kind of, show where I am in this world. Yeah, I wish I had someone in my room with me who could actually move this further away so that we could also better see whether it is in the right position, right? Because right now it's, well, we can kind of see it because the white ball sometimes shows up. But yeah, I'm too close to the camera, which is really annoying. Yeah, so that's the white ball is where my my thing is. Let's see, here we go. The white ball is where that's it is. We can see that it's a bit further off. I wonder if that's again because we do the 2x scale. That's a good point. Oops. Is that where it's getting a problem with the tracking? Yeah, accept that, whatever. Because it's definitely not lining up properly. It's getting close, but it's not lining up properly. So how am I going to... Oh, did I close? I didn't mean to close OBS. Sorry about that. Let's actually make this a bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And let's see if we can move this somewhere that it's in a bit better position to try and see. What if I put it over here? No, it won't stay in place. Okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to put this far enough away? Oh, because that's of course a problem as well, is it might have been zoomed in too much. Because this is of course also part of what needs to be happening to make this sort of thing work. Is that not only do we need to make sure that the camera position is correct, but also our settings for our camera are correct. Because I've now got a default setting with a 75-degree field of view, but it might not be set to that. Is there a way that I can see on the camera itself what it is set to? Do I have a menu on this thing? Oh, that's just what's being captured on this thing. Okay. Okay. All right. So. Okay. Can we find something about that on the great interwebs? So does this say something about what the default field of view is? This is where my limited knowledge about the about camera setups and what all the camera settings mean becomes a problem. So how are we going to figure this out? What does that mean, the F value for lens? Okay. That just means the amount of light that comes in there. All right, so I don't know if any of my viewers are camera experts and have any idea of how we can figure out what the correct field of view value should be for what we're rendering on screen compared to what the camera is doing, so that matches up better. Let's have a look, actually. Let's go and play again. Go to OBS. Oh, this is now switched to the wrong game. That's really good. You should now be showing that, dude. Okay. There we go. All right. So. Yeah, we can see that the ball is, it's not exactly where it should be, but it's close. So the ball, well, we did put the ball slightly behind the headset, and it's where our eyes should be when we're holding it. So I think it's not too far off. Yeah, it's a shame that I can't really see what's happening on screen when I'm doing this. Because again, I really need to have that much further away so that it makes sense. And, you know, as you can see, I really need a proper green screen to do this with. The background removal is not good enough to do what we want it to do. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing is that I'm still the world is still too small? Or is that scale that I did the wrong thing? Should I not be applying world scale? That's the other thing that I'm wondering about. I might have misjudged that because I was sitting down. Okay, so let's change that up first and see what happens. Okay. So I actually want to undo that. I don't want to bother with this, that. Which also means that in our Vive tracker, we need to turn that scale back to 1. Because that also needs to go back to 1. And we are back like that. Okay. Let's see what difference that makes for how things look. Let's go back in here, and that of course has changed again. So I need to go and do this. That's really annoying actually that it keeps changing that. Okay, so bear with me guys. I am going to try and see if I can put this camera somewhere sensible without it falling over. I'm going to move these things out of the way because I want to try and put this camera over here. Oh. Still wants to really fall over, which is really annoying. Oh, did it stop capturing? What's going on here? Ah, it shut itself off. Okay, that's not good. Okay. I guess because I've no longer got it on power, it suddenly just decided to shut off. Now the problem that I'm having right now is that the cable keeps making it fall over. It's really annoying. Okay, now the big question that I have is if I go far enough this way. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Because it's kind of thinking that I'm inside of the game world. But how well is that tracking? That's something that I'm really wondering about. So it's not perfect. Why are you moving? Oh, that's because I'm now in the way for. So yeah, my base station is over there. So you guys can't really see what I was pointing at, but okay. So if I now it's actually gotten the ball too far away. So this is I think the problem. You can see that if I'm nicely in front of the camera, then first of all my tracking screws up again. So yeah, this is the worst place to put the camera right now. But I can see that, yeah, that's our field of view being off, where we can see that we are going too far. So we need to then, let's see if we can go for a 60 degree field of view, whether that makes a better. And this is right now just trial and error, trying to figure out what it should be, which is annoying. Oh, and I hope you guys can still ask ChatGPT. That might actually be a good one. We'll try that in a minute if we can't get closer with this. So let's go back to a 60 degree field of view for a camera. Okay, there we go. Now I need to, oops, I keep forgetting that I need to go here, and then back in here, we need to go for properties, and then change it back and change it forward. We should just remember that, and then it would just realize like, hey, the game stopped playing. Okay. All right, I'm still thinking, is there a better way that I can place this camera so that I don't keep blocking the lighthouse that's actually tracking it? Well, we're gonna just have to make do. All right, let's see if I'm going over here. It's still too far out. But yeah, in general, yeah, I do feel way too small for the world right now. Just looking at where I'm standing. Yeah, the camera looks about the right size. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Let me actually grab this guy and see if we can not move a little bit in a better direction. Okay. How's that looking? Yeah. Yeah, we can now really see that again, the ball should be on my head if the tracking was perfect. And of course, I'm holding my left controller with my right hand. That's why it's looking weird at the moment. But we can see that we're slightly off with positioning. If I'm right, yeah, then I'm just slightly behind there. So that could be the focal length that's wrong. But it's close. It's close. I think if the camera would be much further away. If the camera would be much further away, someone would actually be holding it, and I had a proper room for this, with, you wouldn't have a green screen room. I think this would work. All right. Okay, Kuko said. So you think that's a 45 field of view, or? Oh, horizontal is 65 and vertical. All right. Yeah, that sounds about right. And again, we don't have separate control over horizontal, but our aspect ratio should be taking care of that part. But it also depends on how much I am zoomed in, I guess. Yeah, that's going to be the big thing to try out. That said, I do think that I've kind of hit the limits of what I can do quickly like this. Now, the basic setup is working. I know that my camera is tracking properly, which is really cool. So it is now a matter of perfecting where the camera actually is. So it might be slightly off. This might need to be slightly back or slightly higher. That's all possible. But I think to get the field of view correctly, it really is going to be a challenge to get a proper room for testing, because I just don't have the space here to make it work. And especially not with just using artificial intelligence to remove the background. It is just too imprecise, especially because we're not just tracking our face, right? This sort of technology is meant to just blot out the background by the AI, recognizing someone's face. The moment that obviously, I'm walking around the room and I'm suddenly trying to make this work with my full body, then that fails. So unless I have a bigger area, and even there, when you look at that, things were relatively close to where they needed to be, especially once I put that camera a bit further away and we could actually see what was going on. I think with a little bit of tweaking on screen, you will be able to get that right and get that dialed in. But I really need an extra pair of hands for that. I really need someone to be here to hold the camera at a further distance and help with making that align. So that I can actually see what's going on. All right. Let's have a look. How would you calibrate something like that? That's the question. All right, what can we still do here? I'm trying to think about, okay, what can we do with this limited setup to make this better? I really wish I still had my green screen. That's the thing that I really miss right now. If I had a green screen behind me, so that I can rely on it properly removing the background, it would work a bit better. Yeah, I think I've taken this as far as I can today. I need a better environment to do the filming and to get this dialed in and to get the the tracking to line up properly. We still know that most of it works, which I'm really happy about. We know that, and I'm just going to go and switch over to this. So we know that this in principle works. Is that on? I thought I'd turn it off. All right. So with the puck attached to the camera, we can see that the puck is properly tracking the camera position. I can see that inside of my headset. I can see the camera moving around. I can judge that it's the right distance from me. So I know that this is being placed correctly in the world, which means that our camera view is also doing what it's supposed to do. So that part of it is at least as good. Sorry, my throat's getting a bit dry. So it's purely about getting the image that the camera sees to line up with the image that we're rendering on screen. Excuse me. And that is a matter of getting the field of view correct. And potentially, the near and far it should purely be the field of view that we're dealing with. And like I said, I really need a better setup to get that tested. I need something that is much better at removing the background so that we can really see how things line up. And I need to have the camera mounted or held by another person, or even better yet, have another person in the headset while I'm tweaking the camera so that I can figure out how to dial it in to get that perfected. That said, in basics, this is all working. So I am pretty happy that for how long have we been busy on this? How long is the stream so far? I don't know. Where does it show how long the stream's been going on? It doesn't tell me. Why doesn't it tell me? Well, you guys probably know how long I have been talking. For that small amount of time, getting as far as we are right now, I am quite happy with what I've done. And I'm now going to look into, can I get a better environment to test this in further and perfect this whole setup. So I think I'm going to leave it there today. I hope everybody enjoyed that and just enjoyed seeing how we quickly put a little XR setup inside of someone else's environment and made it so that we could walk around. We quickly dealt with having a different output to the headset through using a sub viewport instead of having the output shared on screen, so that you can show a different camera view on screen, and where we can see the 2D UI on screen without that affecting what we see inside of the headset. So that's all working, which is really cool. We had a bit of fun tracking with the pucks, so I hope everybody who uses the HTC pucks and wants to play around with those now has an idea of what that takes to get that to work in Godot. And other than not having the hardware switched on, which was a bit of a pain, but not having the hardware switched on, that obviously was a bit of a throw off. But once the hardware was switched on, we had the puck suddenly show up, and it's only actually that's a good one because no, that was after we switched them on. So that's the only thing that I'm not sure about is the recognizing the pucks. That was really weird. You got. Oh, sorry. I need to go back to my. There. Yeah, the identified tracker. That bit. Why was that not properly doing something? I need to read up on that because that was really annoying. That should do something on the tracker to know which tracker that is. So that was really. Oh, hold on. Maybe because I didn't click on the right one. No action on the tracker. So yeah, that's really weird. Thank you, Daniel. That's really weird. That was one of the things that I'm sort of. Yeah, I need to figure out what the intention of the identified tracker option is. How are you supposed to recognize which tracker is for that? Because we're just dealing with 2 trackers right now, and really we're only using one for the camera. But the pucks are actually meant for things like full body tracking. So you then have all the pucks on different parts of your body, and you then need to identify which pucks are what. And then obviously in Godot, link those up as well and say, hey, the tracker that is controlling my left leg, needs to be identified as a tracker for, this is the left leg or left foot or whatever tracker. So yeah, we covered in the basics. That's already cool enough, I think. All right. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. Bit of a quicker stream than usual, but yeah, I just wanted to play around with this and test this out and sort of show the setup and the sort of things that we run into. And like I said before, now my job is to start looking at, okay, can I get a better environment to take the next step? And a better environment means having a proper green screen room, or even in this area, I've got the space if I move some furniture out of the way, but I don't have the large green screens that will be needed. But with some large green screens and some proper lighting, this could probably be affected, and especially if I have help from someone else holding the camera, or sitting in the headset and me holding the camera, and then putting some values on screen, some sliders on screen, where we can change the field of view, where we can tweak the positioning. And then we could probably get it all to line up properly until someone zooms in on the camera. So yeah, I think we will leave it there, and thank you all for watching. And yeah, I hope to do another stream sooner this time. I do plan to stream a little bit more often than I have lately. I'm still thinking about what exactly I'm going to be doing on stream. I have been very busy, doing a lot of things with Godot 4, and that's kind of given me a lot less time to work on my little projects. I'm also really thinking about, okay, everything that I've built so far is in Godot 3. Do I now go through the work of converting them to Godot 4? I do think that might be an interesting stream to do one day. So I do have the plan to dedicate a stream to at least do a conversion of one of my projects to Godot 4. So if anybody has any favorites that they want to do, whether I should do the racing game first, or whether I should work on my dungeon game, or whichever other thing that I'm currently, that I've worked on in the past on stream. If there are any, any things that people are specifically interested in seeing, then yeah, let me know. But I do plan to do at least one of those on stream and go through the process of converting it to Godot 4. And especially if there's any sort of XR involved, that's going to be a challenging process. So we'll see if we can actually get through it in a stream. It might take 2 or 3 before we get there. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it today. Hope everybody liked what we did today, and yeah, hopefully we'll have another stream soon.